Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 838 days, Ukraine stands strong against the forces of the Russian invasion. The General Staff of Ukraine informs that the Ukrainian forces struck several Russian air defense systems in Crimea on the night of 9th to 10th June. In particular, one S-400 anti-aircraft missile battalion belonging to the invaders near Jankoy and two enemy S-300 anti-aircraft missile battalions near Chernomorsk and Yevpatoria were hit. The Russians failed to intercept any of the missiles launched. In addition, ammunition began detonating in all three launch areas of the Russian anti-aircraft missile battalions. The Washington Post informs that the Biden administration lifted the ban on the supply of weapons to the 12th Special Forces Brigade Azov of the National Guard of Ukraine, reports LBUA. According to the State Department, after careful study, the 12th Brigade Azov passed the Leahy inspection. The State Department was referring to the Leahy Act, which prohibits the provision of U.S. military aid to foreign units known to have committed serious human rights violations. It is named after former Senator Patrick Leahy, who authored the legislation. The State Department found no evidence of such violations. A representative of the State Department refused to say when the ban was lifted and whether American weapons had already arrived to Azov. Now the Azov Brigade, a once volunteer unit that became part of the National Guard of Ukraine in 2015, will have access to the same military assistance from the US as any other unit. The publication notes that about 10 years ago, Azov was banned from using American weapons, as American officials decided that some of its founders allegedly hold racist, xenophobic, and ultranationalist views, and UN human rights officials accused the group of violating humanitarian law. Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Colonel Vadim Sukharevsky, was appointed the first commander of the Unmanned Systems Forces, reports Interfax Ukraine. Vadim Sukharevsky is the first Ukrainian military who opened fire on the Russian occupiers on 13th of April 2014. They were members of a Russian subversive group from the FSB Crimea detachment, which fired at the Security Service of Ukraine employees near the city of Slovyansk. On 10th of February, Sukharevsky became the deputy of the Commander-in-Chief Alexander Syrsky. His area of responsibility was unmanned systems. In May, Ukraine created a separate type of troops, unmanned system forces. Sukharevsky received a whole range of awards for his service, including the highest, title of the Hero of Ukraine in 2022. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Secretary of the Parliamentary Committee on National Security, Defense and Intelligence Roman Kostenko informed that in May 2024 more people were mobilized in Ukraine than in the few months before. According to Kostenko, among the factors that influence the strengthening of mobilization are the entry into force of the updated law on mobilization, as well as the general awareness of citizens of the need to go and defend the country. At the same time, the MP believes that the effect of the new mobilization law will be seen in the army in a few months. The Kyiv School of Economics assessed damages and losses of the energy sector of Ukraine due to the full-scale invasion of Russia at about $56.2 billion as of May 2024, reports Ekonomichna Pravda. Direct losses of the energy sector of Ukraine amount to more than $16.1 billion. It is reported that the greatest losses were caused by the destruction of electricity generation facilities (8.5 billion), power transmission lines (2.1 billion), and oil and gas infrastructure (3.3 billion). Indirect losses of the energy sector are estimated at almost $40.1 billion. The main share of this amount falls on the lost revenue of energy companies, $39.6 billion. Another $0.5 billion is the cost of dismantling rubble and dismantling work on damaged objects. At the same time, the need for restoration, which involved the complete reconstruction of destroyed objects according to the principle of rebuilding better than it was, amount to $50.5 billion. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We're a commercial initiative of just two people and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.